Hi, welcome back to Carlastrology. My name is Carla. Welcome. I'm going to do something that I haven't done yet on my channel is do a walkthrough of a tarot deck that I just received recently. I backed it on Kickstarter, and it is the Corrupted Tarot by Wormwood. So along with this, as I was, going through this, it comes with a booklet. I had noticed that the fact that it is called the Corrupted Tarot, that the tarot is corrupted. It's more like the shadow of our standard tarot. It comes in a real nice box, real sturdy. The booklet, like I said, I've actually been working with this a little bit. But like I said, while I was working with it, I noticed that it kind of was helping me with like perceiving my own shadow. I think they're just beautiful. It's almost got like a holographic rainbow like finish on the backs. And then it's got that real nice silver gilding. It's all over the cards. It's just, these are just gorgeous. So, as I, like I said, as I was going through these, I noticed that it helps with my shadow work. One thing nice about this deck, there are over 70 different artists that they use their pieces to compose this, to put this together. And so the style is going to be different from card to card. So, and I appreciate that because, there's just, you show who you are through what you create. And so everybody has a different, everybody sees things differently. So I really appreciate that. And these are pretty decent cards. I don't think I want to fold them, but I've been working with them a little bit and they seem to be holding up well. So, with that being said, I wanted to go into how I feel about shadow work. And honestly, I've been thinking about this for a while because I had talked about this with some friends about the association with the Myers-Briggs personality test with the tarot, because somebody already did the hard work for me, obviously, for all of us. And then we all kind of have our own idea of what we think card represents us, But, going back to the shadow and how Carl Jung perceived that is, it's like he said we have the persona, we have the ego, and then we have our shadow. So, and then also we do have like our basic, like animal instinct type self too. And that's like survival mode that kicks in. So, but we have our persona, or our ego is like our true self. It's who we are inside, and then the persona is what we project, to other people or project upon other people. I think more what we want them to see. And then the shadow is what we unconsciously project upon other people. You think about the shadow, and that is what we definitely don't want to accept that about ourselves. And so shadow work is painful, okay? And I feel like it's something that just never, I don't feel like you can do enough of it for myself, because if you're always trying to be better than you were yesterday, well then it's realizing that, you may not react good in a situation that is possibly going to bring out the worst in you. That, if you're dealing with toxic people, and then you have to decide, well, what's toxic? Toxic is what doesn't work for you. Doesn't necessarily mean that person is toxic as much as it means they're toxic to you. It's, you just can't seem to get along, and so it brings out the worst in you instead of the best in you. So toxicity is more in a relationship than it is that person, because that person could also have a great relationship with someone else, because they they are what that other person needs, you know, and who are we to judge? We're not. So anyway, going on from that, like I said, as I was going through this, I noticed that it's perfect for my shadow work. So, you know, the major arcana is not in the association with the Myers-Briggs. So along with this video, I'm going to post in the description a great test that I found. It's tweaked a little bit, but it still gives you your personality type. So it, you know, whether you're an INFJ, ENTP, or whatever, all the 16 different personalities, and it's accurate and it's free. So, and the test too is part of an ongoing research, you know. So they might, at the end of your test, they might ask a few more questions if you're willing to, you know. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. That's just awesome. If you're willing to help with the research. So I will definitely put the link to that in the description of this video, and maybe you all could take that free test. And I believe that just knowing your personality, your archetype, Myers-Briggs related, because that is just tweaking of the Jungian, how he's seen it. You know, the mother and daughter psychology team, they kind of got together and they tweaked the Jungian types a little bit, and they came up with this great way to test your personality. And I just think that is, look at that, isn't that awesome? I mean, look at that shows ego right there almost. But anyway, these cards are beautiful. So I'm going to do a real quick walkthrough, and as I go through these, I will associate the personality type with the cards as I come across those. So I'm going to kind of get through this major arcana real quick, but God, these cards are so beautiful. I just love them. Very, very happy. And look, different style. But there, look at that, justice and a sword. Yeah. They're just interesting, very interesting. And like I said, it's like the shadow. It's like these cards are automatically in reverse. So great for shadow work, you know. And you know, one thing, the shadow is like, it's your unconscious, you know, the part of yourself that you don't realize. But and so I feel like real shadow work, you realize when you actually project that onto somebody and they're like, what the heck is wrong with you? You know, why are you so angry? And you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't think I'm angry, but really you are, and you're just in denial of it. If someone else can see it, someone else is feeling it because you're projecting it upon them. So most of the time we do not see our own shadow until we are put in a situation where we're not getting along with somebody, or there's waves, some major waves going on in our relationship, because we're just not seeing eye to eye on something. So, oh, okay, well, hello, you just seen my shadow. And they end up projecting it back to you, and you don't like it. You know, you don't like it. Nobody does. And so you're like, okay, well, you know, it's time for some reflection. And I feel like one of the best ways to do that is, you know, is looking at your qualities, and then knowing that with each quality, you know, with each attribute, with each characteristic that you know you have, there is a shadow side to that. There is the reverse. There is the opposite side. And being honest with yourself about that is a possibility, well, you might recognize your shadow that way. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's there. It's there. And if we embrace it or imbalance it, then the next time that we are in a situation where we have to deal with that, our shadow, or somebody forcing that shadow out of us, maybe we've already dealt with the shadow, and we move on from it, or we deal with the situation better because we've recognized our shadow, instead of denying him and putting him down where, we're saying, oh, I am not like that, which means we're not really, addressing it. We're not dealing with it. So how can there be healing or moving on if you can't admit to those things, right? And I'm speaking from my own experience because I feel like that's the best way to be better, So I took my test, and I am an INFJ. My boyfriend is a longtime boyfriend, life partner, is, let's see, if I have to, he is an INTJ. Right? Goodness, I didn't write it down. He's a thinker. So he's just like me, but he's a thinker. And I'm getting a little carried away, but anyway, we both took the test. And so I feel like if you're not honest and you answer the questions in a way that say it's how you want to be, then you're not going to get an accurate answer. So try to, take the test and be as honest as you can about how you really are, because there are no good or bad answers. It's just how you are. So instead of projecting to me, that's like not being honest with yourself. If you're not really that way, even though you want to be, then be more, just accept how you are. And then that's how you find out what your personality is. And then you can begin shadow work from there. And some people might not really need to do it because they've been doing it, I mean, if you've got, the devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, then you've been dealing with your shadow for a long time. There's someone's either telling you do it or don't do it, but you're still battling that consciousness, making the right choice. Then, I feel like before I even knew what shadow work was, of course I was doing it, but I will tell you that it was never enough, because it seems like there's always somebody that is going to bring out the worst in you. And then you're like, okay, must be I haven't done enough of this, and I need to figure out why this is still bothering me. Well, hello, there you go, more shadow work. So okay, so we have the Page of Wands, and the Page of Wands is the INTP, which is considered the thinker. So you can pretty much, like by identifying your Myers-Briggs personality, use the tarot to identify your shadow self. So I'm not going to speak of each characteristic of the Myers-Briggs as relation to these cards, because I am just doing a walkthrough. But I did think about maybe running with a small series and doing a few at a time. So, and that I wouldn't mind maybe some collaboration with. So maybe if any of you are interested in helping me do this, the Knight of Wands is the ENTP, which is the Visionary. So if anyone might be interested in maybe helping me with a series like this where we could address each one in the shadow side of the card, I would love that. We could, like, I would prefer to use a deck like this that already has the shadow side of it, but then we could also have, like either the Rider-Waite or something that you feel might depict each character from the 16 different personalities better. The Queen of Wands is the ISTJ, which is the inspector. These are such beautiful cards. The King of Wands is the ENTJ, which is the commander. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at that. Ace of Cups there. So again, like it's like a totally different style. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that, I mean, I just love that. So yeah, again, you know, maybe get somebody that you trust to take that test with you, and so that you know you're being honest with yourself, and you both take it as kind of a fun thing. You know, what we've seen them in Cosmopolitan. Remember that magazine? Cosmo. Look at that. Wow. Just such amazing artwork. We just did a episode today on the tarot brunch of the sixes. So look at that. Wow. So getting back to the you know, the shadow work, again, it's a painful process, but being able to identify your shadow takes, you know, it takes someone else to point it out to you sometimes. And if you're not listening, well, you know, well, that's a whole other thing. But once you're on this path of self-awareness, you tend to maybe try to understand someone else's point of view a little bit, then you might see your shadow in that, you know, and that's how you truly do shadow work. I feel it's hard for me to like pick up a deck of cards and do a spread and without knowing for myself, you know, or somebody else that I trust saying, you know, you really tend to be this way. I'm not really going to identify my shadow. So in a reading, I feel like that's just half of the work. I mean, the real work comes with, you know, unconsciously you're projecting it upon somebody, and then somebody else, you know, picking it up, like, you know, you projected that onto me, and maybe you don't realize it. And unfortunately, when you're in a situation where you are dealing with your shadow unconsciously because you projected onto someone else, the situation is not pleasant. So for you to really go, oh yeah, I guess I am projecting my shadow, rarely happens. It's usually, what? You know, I mean, and then you do and say things that you usually end up having to apologize for. And unless you're willing to admit that you had a part to play in that, you might not ever see your shadow, you know. So the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is the INFP, which is the idealist. The Knight of Cups is the ENFP, which is the champion. The Queen of Cups is the INFJ, which, hello, that's what I am. I'm the INFJ. So, like, for me, because the INFJ is, you know, to make a long story short, she's somebody that is good at hiding how she really feels from the world. And she feels deeply, but she might not show other people, you know, that she feels that way. And so she bottles that shit up. And so, like, the shadow side of this is, you know, well, okay, somebody triggered that in her, and she is not so good at sorting that stuff out, or it's like, oh shit, somebody just unleashed, you know, some very heavy, nasty, toxic shit from this woman because they triggered her, and she was so used to keeping that shit bottled up because that's what she always did. That's what, they say the shadow is something that is born from your childhood. It's like you're one way, and your parent or your caregiver doesn't necessarily appreciate that about you. Say, the Queen of Cups could have been outspoken at one time, as a child. And I'm definitely not saying this about my mom or anything like that, because she did talk to me a lot. So, but with that being said, I did tend to carry a lot of stuff. I had to carry not just my own stuff, but other people's stuff. And the Queen of Cups is considered the counselor, or the INFJ is like the counselor. So, and we do tend to, and like I said, I am speaking for myself at this point, we do tend to take on other people's things, and we keep that bottled up because we don't want to, we want to seem cool and collected. And so, the shadow is not so cool and collected when triggered. And that's a painful thing to realize about yourself, and look at how unhappy and sad she is, because she can't control it anymore. It's coming out, and it's coming out whether she likes it or not, but she's got to get it out. And then part of the healing part is realizing that, okay, I do that, and it doesn't need to be like that. So how do I deal with that? How do I confront that shadow? I try not to keep stuff bottled up anymore, because this is a true reflection right here. I am an INFJ. This is a true reflection right here of what happens if I don't deal with my shadow. So, and I think that the shadow work is real, and it's not just in a card spread. It's dealing with that and then using the cards, because they can be very healing by recognizing that deep darkness inside of you, that it just wants to be, it wants to come out into the light. It doesn't want to be repressed anymore, because the shadow is just what is opposite of what it's like opposite of the persona that you show the world. It's what you keep deep inside. You don't want other people to know, and unconsciously you project it upon other people, or sometimes you don't even realize it. So the King of Cups is the ENFJ, which is the giver. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow. You sure you want to take anything from that guy? I don't know. Again, shadow. Okay. Well, look. Ace of Swords. Different style there. Way different than that style, but cool. I love it. So now we're on to the swords. This is all about our mental self, our words. Yeah. Also, that's Mercury, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So we still got some more personalities to go through. So again, if anybody would be interested in helping me out with a little series like that, I would definitely enjoy anybody's input, because I also feel like, there are other cards that represent ourselves, and if we let our ego pick those cards, you know what? Just as much as we let our ego pick what we think is us, because we don't agree with, say, the Queen of Cups, because, obviously I'm very intuitive. Yeah, I'm telling myself I'm very intuitive. So I could see the High Priestess, but the High Priestess has some qualities also that, that could be in reverse, the shadow side of the High Priestess. So if you're willing to call yourself out and say you're all that, well, guess what? You can also be the opposite of that too. I feel like that is true. That's true shadow work, being honest with yourself, and then dealing with it and realizing that, that's how you become better the next day. You don't react the way you did yesterday, because nobody is just always right, and nobody is just always wrong. And toxicity in people, obviously I'm not a psychologist, but I pay attention. Toxicity is when two people just can't see eye to eye. And it's either because, one or both is not willing to admit their part in it. And so if you can't, well, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be coexisting with each other. So I totally am missing the going on about the personality correspondence with the tarot, but I'm not going to go back and do that. So it's very easy to look up, and I could actually put that in the description too. I could put down what each card represents in the Myers-Briggs. And I forget who it is that originally did that. I imagine it was a combined effort, probably. So I'll put that in the description, at least the notes that I have of what each card is according to Myers-Briggs, the correlation. So I will get through these, and please message me in the comments if you might be willing to join me, and we'll do some real shadow work here. We'll really, maybe pick, because there's 16, maybe do 4 personality types at a time. Like do all the kings and then do all the queens. Yeah, I would be more than happy to do this with you, because 4 eyes are better than 2, right? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. God, I am absolutely in love with this deck. And I'm not really a person that gets into like dark stuff, but I feel like, without the dark, there's no need for the light. And the light is essential to the dark. So let's accept that about each other, and be accepting of each other, and that we're different, and that's okay. It's okay. If it's somebody that you just can't see eye to eye with, well, then that's a toxic relationship, and that's where your boundaries come in. And I've had to learn things the hard way. I've had to learn things the hard way sometimes. But I just had a talk with one of my guides. Dolores Cannon's regression helped me with that, and one of my guides handed me a ring of light, and he said, the time is now. The time is now. And to me, that means it's time to break that karmic cycle, that wheel that you're going on. This is the last time, Carla. This is the last time, so you need to be paying attention. And it's not easy. It's painful because you waited so damn long to do this. Not really. Not really, but some of the hardest lessons are what I'm learning now. So, yeah. If you have not liked or subscribed, please do so. I appreciate you with everything, because there's no need for me to be here if you're not going to watch. I also, for anybody that's interested in going down rabbit holes, I have a podcast that I do with a friend of mine. It's just funny. We just chat. There's no, obviously there's no proof of the stuff that we talk about, but it's just fun. So check us out. It's called the Carla and Chris Show. We've done 3 or 4 episodes now, something like that. But anyway, check it out. It's fun. It's fun stuff. So, all right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. So I'm excited. Let me know what you think. I actually have a couple more decks that I have backed on Kickstarter that I'm excited to get. So I don't have that many decks. I haven't counted. I think I have 30, and a lot of them were given to me. So, anyway, yeah. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I hope to see you again real soon.